Hello, and welcome to the second podcast of Modulate Mind Music, the podcast where we explore the possibilities that various meditation techniques can bring to our experience of music and our lives in general. My name is Isabel Hede, and I am a professional violinist and meditation teacher from Melbourne. In this podcast, I explore a different theme each week. The format of the podcast begins with an explanation of the week's theme, followed by a meditation that is coupled with musical interludes. Also, just a reminder that this podcast can be listened to in any way that is helpful to the listener, whether it be in a quiet setting alone or on your daily commute around other people, whatever is beneficial for you. This podcast is also in support to Modulate Music's live performance series, which, following a similar format to this podcast, involves professional musicians performing old and new music live alongside guided meditation interludes. Modulate Music concerts happen in various venues around Melbourne and Australia, so stay tuned for updates with upcoming events. So for this week's podcast, I'll explore the theme of stillness. There are obviously many aspects of stillness to explore, but the main topic I'm interested in exploring today is learning how to create internal stillness and how that can impact our experience of sound and all our other interactions. There is no doubt that today we live in a world of constant movement and stimulation. There is a level of speed that we have become accustomed to living with. This environment of constant distraction and movement is undoubtedly having an impact on our health and mental well-being. There is no wonder that many people suffer stress and anxiety. The exploration of stillness can provide a wonderful opportunity to slow down these currents of motion of body and mind and help us have time and space for clarity and focus. Learning the mental skill of creating internal stillness can help us break the habits of being constantly run by our impulses and mental chatter. If we think of times in our lives when we've been upset or agitated, we can look at the state of the body and mind, and most often than not, there is always a massive movement, maybe tension in the body, but nearly always an incredible amount of mental movement. On the flip side, if we take a look at the times that we've felt feelings of happiness and contentment, the body was more likely to be in a state of greater ease, and the mind may have had greater simplicity and less afflictive movement. It's not to say that all movement is negative. It is quite often necessary. But to be able to access the vantage point of internal stillness is no doubt a useful skill that can help us shift our experience of our external world, particularly when it is challenging. So without too much further discussion, let's explore this idea with meditation and experiment for ourselves using our own experience. In this meditation, I will revisit some of the techniques used in the first podcast. We will begin, as always, with the primary focus on relaxation. I would say that the cultivation of relaxation is a key foundation to any meditation practice or reflective inquiry. A helpful way to find greater relaxation and then eventually stillness is to bring the attention to the body, drawing the attention away from the mind so that when we return to the mind, we can do so with greater calmness and clarity. After cultivating a level of relaxation and attention, we will then use this state to shift our attention to our aural surroundings. We will practice the skill of observing the external stimulus of sound whilst maintaining internal stillness. A helpful skill that can then be used in many other instances in your life. We will then take this experience one step further to our experience of our own mental landscape, our thoughts, and how we can relate to them also from this still point. We will then conclude the meditation with a musical excerpt that is a continuation of the music presented in the first podcast, created in Iceland with Sydney composer sound artist Megan Clune, featuring myself playing the violin. We will now begin the meditation. You will hear the sound of the bell to mark the beginning and the conclusion of the meditation. So, to begin any meditation, the first and most important thing is to let yourself relax. Let your body completely relax into a state of complete ease, your muscles giving in to gravity. This process can be aided by beginning the session with 3 deep breaths. With each breath, pay particular attention to the out-breath. The out-breath is the key to helping the mind and body relax. As you get to the end of the out-breath, let your mind be particularly still and quiet before the next breath gently comes in. Once you have released the body, it is then important to assume a posture of attentiveness, completely relaxed but ready to focus. Whether you are sitting, standing, or lying down, the most important thing is to make sure your back is comfortably straight. It is also helpful to make sure the muscles in your neck are released, your jaw is soft, and the muscles of your face are relaxed. Your eyes may be closed or half open, whatever is your preference. Now we once again bring our attention to our breath, the natural flow of the in and out breath. Resist the urge to modify, control, or change the breath. Just simply observe it like a silent witness. If you find your mind particularly active today, you can place particular attention to the sensation of the out-breath. But alternatively, if you are feeling somewhat lethargic, you can instead focus gently on the in-breath. This way you can begin to balance out the mind through your attention to the breath. Try this out for a short while. Now, you have hopefully created some level of relaxation and calmness in the body. We can now turn back to the mind. The 21st century is quite an unusual time to be living in. We are exposed to a multitude of information and entertainment on a daily basis, and it's very easy to be fueled by a sense of being constantly driven. As an experiment, just for this short time, take the opportunity to give up this impulse and relieve yourself from all ambition, all hope and fear, all achievement, even in relation to this meditation. By relieving yourself from this sense, your mind will naturally begin to settle into a state of ease and stillness. Now spend a moment reflecting on this internal experience you have created for yourself, this sense of space, relief. You're choosing to let go just for this short time. Become familiar with this experience, this option for stillness. Now we will shift our observation to our aural awareness, the external sounds around us, while still maintaining the vantage point of stillness. Simply let the sounds appear to you. Whilst you are listening, it can be helpful to continue to keep peripheral awareness, maybe 20% of your attention, on the out-breath, to maintain the ease and stillness of the body and mind. Now, after exercising your aural attention, bring your mind fully back to the body and the breath. Pay attention to see if there has been any difference since the beginning of the meditation to this moment now. Now, as we have spent some time observing external sounds, let's use the stillness we have created to turn our observation to our internal experience, our experience of our mind. As thoughts and appearances naturally arise in your mind, see if you can be aware of them without the usual habit of thinking them. Instead, maintain your center of stillness, alike to someone simply sitting and watching a television. Just simply let them be without engaging with them at all. You will find by maintaining this vantage point of stillness, the thoughts or images will naturally fade away. There may be even some points where the motion of the mind begins to settle. Let your mind become familiar with this vantage point of stillness, your natural resource for greater clarity and awareness. As I introduce the final music excerpt, practice experiencing the music from this position of stillness. When thoughts naturally arise, enjoy the practice of simply releasing any engagement, returning back to the clarity and space as you are relieved from the motions of the mind. Thank you for listening to the Modulate Mind Music podcast. I hope it has been beneficial for you and you have enjoyed it. If you would like to write a review for this podcast, it would be greatly appreciated. You can share your comments on iTunes or at www.modulatemusic.com. Also, if you'd be interested in attending one of our live concerts or you think you'd be interested in collaborating with us, please check or contact us via our website www.modulatemusic.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram as Modulate Music. Once again, my name is Isabel Hede, and you can join me again on next week's Modulate Mind Music podcast, where we'll be exploring the theme of breath. Look forward to sharing it with you then.